Hi there, gents. Hopefully, lockdown's going well for you. I just wanted to draw together three strands that we've been looking at this week, and in particular, the fact that we are looking at why did the Allies win? That's our key question over the next few weeks. And I suppose you've started to look at that, particularly in the last few days with the Italian campaign, where once again Hitler made some fairly silly strategic decisions by continuing to fight in Italy, even when Mussolini was overthrown. Hitler refused, as you would have learned, to retreat and actually, in fact, sent more troops down into Italy to stop the Allies from an easy victory there. And I suppose you can see his reasoning was to try and stop an Allied invasion into southern Germany, maybe via Austria. But once again, as in the North African campaign with our friend Rommel, Hitler has been drawn into these periphery events, I suppose, because of his mate Mussolini. And that's meant German troops, German resources, and all of the things that go to make an army work: planes flying, equipment, ships sailing with equipment. All of that is a huge drain on the Germans, who are still in the midst of fighting the Soviet Union, which is now bringing across its troops from the east. It's getting supplies via the Atlantic and the North Sea from the British from the Americans via Britain. And so Hitler is just pouring troops into, I suppose, a sink here in North Africa and in the Italian campaign. So moving along with sort of that key question, why did the Allies win? We now got to look at something else, which maybe is a little bit more debatable about whether it actually helped the Allies win, and that's something called strategic bombing. And today and probably tomorrow, you're going to look at this strategy that the Allies used and came up with by a guy called Arthur Harris, a RAF officer, who believed that by bombing Germany intensely, they would force German morale to drop, and they would reduce the amount of equipment and such like that the Germans could manufacture and also move around. So railway units were also bombed. But the problem with strategic bombing, particularly in World War II, was that the pinpoint bombing wasn't too accurate, and so in large cities, there were very many civilian deaths. And I suppose the British would have said, well, that's too bad, because the Germans are doing it to us in the Blitz, so they can have a little bit of the same medicine. But some of the casualty rates that the Germans suffered are just horrific. So, for example, in the bombing of Dresden in February 1945, so when the war was over, almost over, 40,000 people were killed in one raid alone on the city of Dresden in Germany. And so many people today, many commentators today, and even at the time, thought that this was just horrific, and in fact possibly could be considered a war crime. But anyway, you guys today and tomorrow will be looking at some information about strategic bombing and sort of coming to your own conclusions about its justification, I suppose, morally, but not so much more important, but more for our point, whether or not it was one of the key reasons as to why the Allies won. So keep that key question in mind as you look into strategic bombing, and think about whether strategic bombing was more or less important than the Italian campaign, the North African campaign, and the Battle of Atlantic, and even what was happening on the Eastern Front. As always, Ben, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to email me at b.john@ags.school.nz, or post your question in the blog. Over and out.